Hi, my name is Gerhard and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the great pleasure of speaking with a friend in Australia, Trav, and he is the bucket list guy. Welcome, Trav.
I am. Gerhard, good to speak to you, mate.
So what got you started with the bucket list? Was it the movie?
No, someone called me the bucket list guy after the very first talk I ever put on. I've never worked for anyone in my life, so I've always had my own businesses. From third year university, I started this thing called personal fitness training back in the kind of early 90s. I grew it from one client up to tens of thousands of clients, first to franchise personal training studios in Australia. I grew it into a monster, went through a bout of depression, but instead of going on heavy antidepressants and putting a Band-Aid over the top of it, I wanted to kind of get to the root cause of what I was going through at the time, understand my own psychology, got right into personal development, learning all about positive psychology, NLP, went to Burning Man, walked on fire, did ayahuasca, trying to find myself. But it was about 2 years into that journey, and a friend of mine said, hey, you should teach this stuff. And that was like a light bulb moment of why I was there in the first place. And about a month later, I put on a talk. About halfway through it, I started sharing the fact that I had a list to do before I die since I was 18, actually written down. So it inspired the group. And then Joe, one of the participants at that first seminar, said, at the end, how's all this list to do before you die stuff? It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy. And I went, ping, light bulb moment, went home and registered the bucketlistguy.com. I've been doing that ever since.
How many people have you met after you got depressed that also became successful and then got depressed?
I talk openly about my mental health struggles, albeit mild compared to what I've heard since.
Right.
And we've heard some shocking stories, but because I go there when I talk and I coach and I write and do things like this, people, especially other males, go, they're always the ones that, at the end of the seminar saying, thanks so much for talking about that. Thanks for going there first, because you kind of give them license to be open as well.
You've created is a gym for the mind.
Not from an ego point of view, but it's just so cathartic to be able to help people. And I love helping. I love helping coaches, thought leaders,
right.
Help more people with
right.
their mess. Their mess is their message.
Exactly.
There's so much wisdom. There's so much wisdom trapped within people. And I say to them, how dare you die with that wisdom still within you?
So give me a success story of a bucket list conversion of somebody that was really down in the dumps like you.
I've raised a bunch of money for a not-for-profit called the Reach Foundation here in Melbourne, Australia, set up by an ex-Australian rules football star, Jim Steins. Wayward teens would come into this program and come out the other side, just amazing leaders, really, self-aware. So I've raised a bunch of money for it. And they asked me, Trav, would you come down to our head office here in Melbourne and do a talk for the leaders of the Reach Foundation? So I went down there, and no one over the age of 22, 23 maybe at best, probably even younger. I did my kind of normal stock standard signature keynote with a few little edgier bits and make it more applicable to young adults. And at the end of it, I was there for about an hour and a half. They've got a very open kind of culture. And then at the end of it, one of the young girls got up. She would have been about 18, 19. She was bawling. I got up and I said, why, what's going on? What are you crying? She wasn't doing this one-on-one. She was, openly in front of everyone. And she said, if my younger sister had been here to see your presentation today, she wouldn't have killed herself 2 weeks ago.
Heavy.
And mate, that was one of the most poignant moments of my life where I found out my why.
Right.
I just went into overdrive after that. I was like, how many more of those girls were out there? How many more are young? I've got 4 kids, so 2 young boys are 15, 16. How many more people can I help? Because that is my addiction.
That's wonderful. Show me the
tattoos. So this is how. Okay, so talk about branding and all that. So This is how serious I am.
Right. Bucket list. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, and we've got our, now we've got, look at this. Now we've got our ticket before you kick it community out there around the world. Now I've got certified bucket list coaches running around the world teaching my stuff in 22 countries, which is pretty cool.
How many coaches do you have?
Going on about 100.
So their impact probably 10,000 people a year.
Don't know, but our mission is to get to 1 million, 10 million bucket listers before my time is up.
Have you written a book about it?
I've just written that book.
The Bucket List Blueprint.
Bucket List Blueprint. Yeah. So when the Amazon bestseller, and it's helped a lot of people. It's more like a workbook, and it's an acronym for to help people create a really thoughtful and meaningful, tangible life plan.
I think you have a great story to tell, and to me, your personal disappointment really became the cradle of ambition, and you were much more at peace and far more successful than before because you defined the meaning for your own life. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Cheers, mate.